Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys in California. Before I begin, give all praise to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the Earthly Mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand the events that are currently happening on the earth, so we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Now, this video is going to go kind of hand in hand a little bit with the last video, but we're going to go in depth and show you some more prophecy that has been fulfilled. We're going to take a look at one of the curses that was going to be put over all of our people. Okay? Now, we're going to go to Deuteronomy 32 and 21. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. We're going to prove the fact that these last two slaveries we've gone into, that we have been put under the thumb of a foolish nation. Couple of them. Now, see, this is what happens when they got our books but had no understanding. But we didn't read, so therefore they were able to tell us that they were the ancient Greeks, the ancient Romans, and that they were the ones that have ascended to these high levels of understanding, that we all had to go to them to get understanding. We had to go to their philosophers and their mathematicians and their scientists in order to get understanding. Now, usually, when you try to learn from someone, they'll be like a master and you'd be like an apprentice, right? And you would have to go for a certain amount of years in order to get an understanding. For you, you got to get enough understanding for you to become a master, and then for you to take apprentices, and for you to teach them. See, what the Most High is doing right now is he's allowed these other nations to go out here and spew these lies for such a long time that many people believe them. But now he's raising up his people that are going to show you that the things that they've been telling you are nothing but a bunch of lies. Now, of course, we know this already. Spirit's been showing us this, but now he's proving it also. He's given us information to already prove what he's shown us in the Spirit. And as someone kind of make a comment, I don't need books, I don't need this. The Spirit already told me. Well, yes, the Spirit's told all of us. But some people need to see it. If you don't have any kind of proof or whatever else, you're almost on the same kind of situation as what these Gentiles have been doing. These Gentiles have been saying so many different things, but offering no proof. Just like you can only read 66 books. Where does it say that at? You can only read 80 books. Where does it say that at? The Catholic Church was the first church. Where does it say that at? The Catholic Church has now become the authority of the scriptures, and the Pope is like God on earth. Where does it say that at? See, they've been going around to saying things, and no one's questioned them, and they've been allowed to because they've been in their blessing. This is just more proof that their blessing is a wrap. Their blessing is done. I was talking to you guys about a book. The Most High blessed us with the opportunity to get our hands on this book. What I would suggest you do is check this out. Just so you kind of know how crazy this stuff is. Look this book up. Look up first editions. We don't have a first edition. Okay? This book here is from 1791. But look up how much a first edition is, and you will be blown away by how much. Because I was blown away when I was like, book I never even heard of before. They're asking such a ridiculous amount of money for. So it's called An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations. Okay, by Adam Smith. All right. So we got one of the commissioners of His Majesty's Customs in Scotland, and formerly professor of moral philosophy in the University of Glasgow. This is more like it's like an economic book, and of course, man, we only deal with the Bible here. We don't be dealing in economics. We don't be dealing in that kind of stuff. It's just a Bible only. Hey, man, 66 books. That's it. You ain't gonna find anything else. That's just all Esau's information. All right, bruh. All right. If that's what you want to believe, knock yourself out. But see, when you really have the Holy Spirit and she's really working with you, it doesn't matter what you read. The Most High is going to show you so much everywhere. He's going to show you truth everywhere. She has been sent to bring all things back to our memory. We ran everything. You're talking about money, resources. Yeah, we had all that. Solomon was like, what, the richest man, the most wise person? Was he only wise about the scriptures? Or was he wise in many things? You see, that other nations have worked so hard to make you feel that, it's only about the Bible and that's it. And everything else has always been them. They're the philosophers, they're the scientists, they're the mathematicians, they're the ones that set up these great societies. They're the Egyptians, they built the pyramids. They're the Incas, they're the Mexicans. They're everywhere. They're the Native Americans up here too. They're everywhere. They're Ishmael over there. They're the original Russians, even though the Russian icons say otherwise. They're all that stuff. They're everywhere. They're everybody. We're nobody. We're just Africans. That's it. Okay? But let's just take a look here real quick. Hey, on this the 4th of July, and hey, it's only appropriate that we bring out some information that exposes another huge lie that you've perpetrated for hundreds of years. The lie is that you guys were not this foolish nation that was put on top of the Israelites. The lie has been that you guys have been the ones that have brought knowledge and understanding to everyone. And that, you are the ones that are pretty much responsible for all of the great societies in the world. But before we get into this again, take a look at this. And I know this book right here, it's not the Bible. Many of us I've never even heard of this before. But you're going to be surprised when you see how much this book is going for first editions. And I said this one's from 1791. And it says, again, Deuteronomy 32:21. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. So Most High had to use a foolish nation to provoke us to anger, to make us see the error of our ways. He had to use a foolish nation. It's like, damn, we were put under by these people. The Most High put us under these people. These people can't find themselves out of a wet paper bag. And we were subject to them for hundreds of years. Damn, how far we'd fallen as a people. That is prophecy. So let's check it out. What I like about this, he's always kind of referencing ancients, the ancients. So it's a good way to kind of get the customs of the ancients. And we know the ancients of these lands, ancients of these European lands, were the Celts. And we know that the Celts were the Israelites. How do we know that, people? Because if you go to Acts 29, which of course the Catholic Church said, oh, no. Acts 28 is it. I know it ends abruptly, but damn it, don't let them read Acts 29. You read Acts 29 and you see how Paul went to Britain here, met with the Druids, and they had their conversations, and they found out that the Druids were the Israelites. That's what's in Acts 29. So when they're talking about the ancients of Europe, because the Druids actually taught everyone. Hey, Pythagoras, you guys love so much was taught by Aldris the Druid, because we were the ones given all this knowledge and understanding, and you got that from us. And you didn't have a great society. You were learning from us. If you're not sure, look up Acts 29. Check it out yourself. It's in the Sefer. They didn't take it out of there. The Sefer has other books that the Catholic Church and some of our Catholic Hebrews have been subscribing to. 7 years seem anciently to have been all over Europe. 7 years, huh? The usual term established for the duration of apprenticeships and the greater part of incorporated trades. All such incorporations were anciently called universities. Okay, so we got 7 years already. This is ancient. These are ancient things that are already set up. 7 years that you're going to go and learn and be an apprentice. They had the ancient word they already had set up. They had universities set up in ancient times. Look, this is before you guys, you Indo-Europeans who are there today. This is before you. This book is from 1775. So like the guy says, what you're reading here is, about that kind of information and before. These people knew exactly the history of the Greeks and the Romans. Everyone knows their history. Everyone knows how long they've been here. Everyone knows what they know. History hadn't been covered up so much because we were enslaved. We weren't reading. So it was easier for them to kind of, talk about certain things. And a lot of these people don't like each other. So they're airing out dirty laundry on both sides, which is a beautiful thing for us because we're just kind of sitting on the sidelines watching them go back and forth. And it's like, damn, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Damn, really? That's who? Okay. And they're just going back and forth with each other. So again, all such incorporations were anciently called universities, which indeed is the proper Latin name for any incorporation. Okay, whatever. The University of Smiths, the University of Tailors, and etc. are expressions which we commonly meet with within the old charters, okay, of ancient towns. These are ancient towns way before you guys got here. You can see why these books are so expensive. They don't want you realizing that ancient times and before they got here, that's why you got to go with the Black Celts book. And it talks about, the so-called black people that are already in the land of Ireland. Even though they want to say, oh, that's not true. It doesn't matter what you guys say. You guys didn't get up to way later. All these things are already set up way before you. The main guy you guys talk about is Pythagoras, and he learned from the Druids. So Druids already had all this information. See how the Most High is bringing all of this together? He's making it all fit already. That's why when you got people saying that I have the 100% truth, and that the only way that you can do this, and that is by reading the Bible and doing exactly as it says. It's showing you that those people that, have given you those scriptures, have gone through and manipulated them, have no understanding whatsoever. Oh, there's way more. Okay? When those particular incorporations, which are now peculiarly called universities, were first established, the term of years which it was necessary to study in order to obtain the degree of Master of Arts appears evidently to have been copied from the term of apprenticeship in common trades, of which the incorporations which were more ancient, again in common trades, of which the incorporations were more ancient, as to have wrought 7 years under a master properly qualified was necessary in order to entitle any person to become a master. Okay, so in order to become a master, you had to be taught for 7 years. Now the great part of it. Check this part out. Because these are things that were established in ancient times, okay? This is how they be telling on themselves. At the bottom. Apprenticeships were altogether unknown to the ancients. The reciprocal duties of master and apprentice make a considerable article in every modern code. Now check this out. This is the important part. The Roman law is perfectly silent with regard to them. I know no Greek or Latin word, I might venture, I believe, to assert that there is none, which expresses the idea we now annex to the word apprentice. A servant bound to work at a particular trade for the benefit of a master during a term of years, upon condition that the master shall teach him that trade. Okay, hold on. So you're trying to say that these people did not have a word for an apprentice. Let's read that one more time. The Roman law is perfectly silent with regard to them. I know no Greek or Latin word I might venture, I believe, to assert that there is none, which expresses the idea we now annex to the word apprentice. A servant bound to work at a particular trade for the benefit of a master during a term of years, upon condition that the master shall teach him that trade. Hold on. See, if you guys know so much and you guys have been the masters and you've been passing down all this knowledge for all these centuries, then it would make sense that you guys would have a word in your laws for an apprentice. But let's just say you did not have all of this knowledge and understanding. Then, of course, it makes sense. If you don't have knowledge and understanding and you didn't know how to do all these things, you wouldn't even have enough knowledge to have someone follow you around for 7 years because you really didn't have anything to teach them. So if there's no word for an apprentice because you didn't have any, then it would make sense that you also weren't the masters. The people that you called masters, like Pythagoras and Aristotle, we know you guys stole all that information you got from the Egyptians, right? So therefore you weren't masters at that time. You were still apprentices. But you guys do have words for slaves. See, that's what you guys would do. You would just go around, take over lands, rape, rob, murder, pillage, and then have these people be your slaves. You see what I'm saying? That makes much more sense. And that would make sense as to why they didn't have a word for an apprentice. But see, if you look at the movies, you look at how they portray the Greeks, like, everyone came to their universities and everyone came to learn from them. But we know that when they set up Alexandria, they made the Egyptian priests the main professors of these universities, and they were teaching the Greeks that were coming to learn. So again, the masters were the Egyptians. The apprentices were the Greeks and these Romans. And this right here just tells on them. This is why when you hear people say, 55 or 66 books, that's it. That's all we got to concentrate on. See, the Most High made them put all this information in these other books. This is why these types of books are as expensive as they are. But the Most High made it so we could get our hands on these books. I would have never even known to look for these books, or this book in particular, had I not been going and visiting some bookstores and got exposed to it. And then you start looking it up, it's like, damn, it's how much? What in the hell is a nap book that it's that much? If we could ever get our hands on the first edition, some books we just can't do it. It's just too much money. But the Most High will still get us whatever edition. You don't want to go, all the way down to as old as these books are. You don't want to be going to the 1800s, 1900s, because they're just going to take, trust me, I'm sure they're going to take a lot of this out. This book has, these books are, it's 3 volumes. But then later on, by the time it gets down to us, it's a 1-volume pamphlet. And they're taking out all this information. But that's what they do. You see what I'm saying? So this is why people say, I got 100% truth. I know everything. I got it all down. Did you know that the Greeks and Romans did not even have the word for an apprentice? And if they don't have a word for an apprentice, then they couldn't be masters. So then their whole argument that they've made about them teaching the whole world and bringing the whole world out of barbarism is a bunch of BS. So you can push your whole forth of you lied on everyone, talk about how great you are, how great the country is, and everything else. But your history is telling you different. The history is exposing the truth. We just should check that part out one more time. The Roman law is perfectly silent with regard to them. I know no Greek or Latin word, I might venture, I believe, to assert that there is none, which expresses the idea we now annex to the word apprentice. A servant bound to work at a particular trade for the benefit of a master during a term of years, upon a condition that the master shall teach him that trade. Now, see, they put us in slavery. It's like, hey, it's for life. And your kids, too. They're going to work for life because that was all part of us going into our captivity. And this right here just proves that Deuteronomy 32 and 21, talking about a foolish nation. This foolish nation didn't even have a word for an apprentice. They don't have a word for apprentice because they're not the masters. Why is that? Because they're foolish. They don't have understanding. They had to jack everything from us and then portray themselves as the ones with all the knowledge. And it make us seem as if we are the ones that didn't know anything. Excellent trick. This is why Psalms 83, was so important. Obliterated the name of Israel. Making the name of Israel as being no more. Because once you start to realize that the Holy Spirit sent, and she let you know how great of a people you were, and how much knowledge and understanding you had, then you start to look into other books and other information, and you find things just like this. But again, Deuteronomy 32, 21. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. Here's your foolish nation right here. A couple of them. The Greeks and the Romans. No word for an apprentice because they had nothing to teach. Nothing to teach. All praise is the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.